You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show. The preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. I'm just here for the brain bleed, folks. Welcome to the Chris Voss Show, guys. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. We have an amazing author we're going to be talking today, all the way from London and England, all at the same time. London, England. There's not a London anywhere else in the world, is there? I mean, there's certainly not the beautiful city, but I don't think there is a London city anywhere in the world. So, there you go. So London, England, you'll be finding out more about geography on the show, things that you skip while you were asleep or drooling on your desk in elementary school. Today, we'll have her on the show. Also, to learn more about it, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Go to youtube.com/Chris Voss. See all the places we are on the interwebs, the big LinkedIn group, the big LinkedIn newsletter. And for more of me saying the word "the," you can tune in for that. For the show to your family, friends, relatives, give us a 5-star rating over there on the iTunes. Today, she is launching her new book. Comes out August 30th, 2022. The Lost Ticket. In 4 months, I'm going to be saying 2023. Oh, my gosh. The Lost Ticket by Freya Sampson, an amazing author. She's written a couple books here. And she's going to be talking about her latest book that's is coming out. You want to order it up and get it? Well, it's hot off the bookshelves. She works in television as a creator and executive producer. Her credits include 2 documentary series for the BBC about the British royal family, as well as a number of factual and entertainment series. Wait, was the British family not the factual part, or was it the factual part? We'll find out later. She studied history at Cambridge University, and in 2018 was shortlisted for the Exeter Nobel Prize. So you didn't get the Nobel Prize, you got the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, I really like the way you said that. Let's just go with the Exeter Nobel Prize. I'll take that one.
We'll do that, yeah. She lives in London with her husband, 2 children, and an antisocial cat, which we'll definitely have to ask her about on the show. Welcome to the show, Freya. How are you?
I'm very well, Chris. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. We certainly appreciate it. Give us your .coms or wherever you want people to find you on those interwebs tubes that run in the sky.
So I have a website, which is freya-sampson.com. And then on most of the social medias, I am Freya Sampson author. So pretty easy to find.
There you go. So tell us more about the British royal family BBC documentary you did. No, we'll get
I'm very happy to talk about that.
You're like, I didn't come on here to talk about that. I come here to talk about my book, damn it. No, we'll get the dirt later. Do you have a name for that so people can look that up? My mom's one of those BBC watching fans over here.
Yes, so I think I'm trying to remember that it had a slightly different name in America. I think it was called like A Year with the Royals or something was one of them then, and A Year at Windsor Castle.
We'll have to check that out. We got the plug in there anyway. I got the plug in there for you. So let's talk about your newest book. Now, this is your second book. Is that my understanding correct?
It is. That's correct. Yes.
There we go. And so what motivated you to write this book? And is it a novel? Do I have that correct?
Yeah, it's a novel. So it was inspired by a story. So my first book was set in a library. And I heard this amazing story when I was researching this book, The Lost Ticket, it was about a woman who was 102 years old. And she had spent years trying to find this book that her father had read her as a child. She couldn't remember the title, but she really wanted to find this book again, and she'd never been able to find it. And she mentioned it to a librarian, and this librarian, because librarians are superheroes, went on a mission. And not only did she trace the book, but then she and her colleagues recorded themselves reading it. So this 102-year-old lady could listen to the story one last time. And I was blown away by this lovely act of kindness, but also this idea that actually the librarian, it wasn't just the lady who'd got pleasure. All the librarians had really enjoyed it as well. And I was like, I think there's a book in that on like a sort of a long search, someone who spent decades looking for something, and this sort of group of strangers who come together to try and help them find it. but I realised a book perhaps wasn't the most dramatic for in my novel. So it's a woman. So it's a man who has spent 60 years riding this London bus, trying to find a woman he met as a 22-year-old, and the strangers who come to try and help him.
And so this is kind of one of those lost connections sort of thing.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know if they have them in London, but over here we have a thing called Craigslist. And it's used for all sorts of things, selling things and selling goods. If you want to hire like a lawnmower person, you can. It's kind of like a bulletin board, an old style internet bulletin board, still is. And they have like a lost connections section on there. And it's kind of interesting to go on there. You go on there and, you see some romantic stuff. People like, I saw you from across the Starbucks and you were drinking a latte and you spilled it on yourself and suddenly I was in love with you. I don't know. It's making funny scenarios. And if only I fell in love with you and if only I could find you. So is it kind of that sort of thing?
It is.
Without the spilling of the...
Yeah, less spilling. In fact, we have there's a newspaper in this country, a free newspaper they give out on buses and trains called Metro, and it has something called Rush Hour Crush, which is exactly that. It's like,
serious?
To the guy in the Chris Voss show hat, I was the lady who spilled the cappuccino down my front on the Northern Line. Let's meet for dinner. So, and in fact, I feature it in the book because I'm obsessed with those columns. I'm always like, A, who actually does them? And B, do they ever connect? Do they ever find their person?
See, you've touched on what I always thought when I looked at them, and the curiosity of those columns. When I'll go on there, like usually I would hire movers off the Craigslist, and they're usually cheaper than hiring off of the expensive guys who are like, I'll charge $1 million. So I just hire some guys. They usually have a truck, and they're usually cheaper. And so anytime I would ever go on there, I'd be like, hey, I wonder what's in the lost column. And you go read it, and like you say, you wonder, like you're like, I wonder if anybody ever like the two people meet. And they, they get married or something and have kids, and they're the old people that you see holding hands. You're like, how did you meet? Oh, there's this time at Starbucks or on the bus in your case. And somebody should do the movie about that. Maybe your book should be turned into a movie so we can.
From your mouth to Hollywood's ear, please, Chris.
There you go. There you go.
If anyone's listening.
I want a cut of that. So Spielberg, call me. And I wish I had that kind of power. There's so many great stories that come on the show like yours. I always wonder, like, what happens? So you have the story here. Give us the name of some of the characters that are in the story.
So Libby is the main character, and she is a young woman who has just had her heart horribly broken by her boyfriend. And she arrives in London literally with her life packed into 2 bags. And on the bus, she meets Frank, who is our elderly gentleman who has spent 60 years trying to find this woman. And I should say, so the reason he spent 60 years trying to find her, because he met her on the bus in 1962, fell in love with her. She wrote her number on a bus ticket, and he lost it.
Oh.
I mean, honestly, Frank, what a move. He lost the ticket.
That's awful.
I know. Awful. So Libby decides to help Frank in his search with the help of Frank's carer, who is a punk rocker by the name of Dylan. So he joined the search too.
Hi, folks. Here's Voss here with a little station break. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. We'll resume here in a second. I'd like to invite you to come to my coaching, speaking, and training courses website. You can also see our new podcast over there at chrisvossleadershipinstitute.com. Over there, you can find all the different stuff that we do for speaking engagements if you'd like to hire me, training courses that we offer, and coaching for leadership, management, entrepreneurism, podcasting, corporate stuff. With over 35 years of experience in business and running companies as CEO, I think I can offer a wonderful breadth of information and knowledge to you, or anyone that you want to invite me to for your company. Thanks for tuning in. We certainly appreciate you listening to the show, and be sure to check out chrisvossleadershipinstitute.com. Now back to the show. So this becomes quite the bus adventure of everyone trying to help him find, and so he just keeps riding the bus, hoping one day she'll step onto the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Never been able to get over it. The one that got away.
I've had that happen to me, I think at least once. I had, I was at the club getting phone numbers, and I think there was one time I got a number that was either written on my hand, a phone number, or it was put on a napkin. And there was a little bit too much drinking that took place that night. And the next morning when I woke up, the stuff was smeared. And I think there was another time where I either lost the napkin or the napkin had gotten wet because, you're just sitting in a cocktail, and lost the number. And I think it's happened to me twice in my lifetime. And
do you
hate
wonder
that.
one of them in the future?
Yeah.
You never know, right?
I don't talk to ugly girls. I mean, they were nice girls. So, you wonder. You're just like, man, what if that was the one or whatever? So, do they all, how does it play out? Or you can't, of course, tell us a lot of stuff with a novel at the end or in the middle, but do they all search beyond the bus system, or do they stay within the bus system?
Yeah. So the bus is how it starts, but obviously it expands out and it kind of gains its own momentum. It becomes a bit of a social media thing. Lots of other people become involved in the search. So yes, it does. And it's set in London, and it's all around London. So American readers, I'm sure, will recognise lots of the sort of famous tourist sites that are featured in the book as they search.
Wow. Now, I guess he has dementia or progressing dementia. And so they're wasting its time to unite these two. Wow.
Exactly. He wants to find her before he can't remember her anymore.
Wow. That's wild. One of my favorite movies, and I forget the name of it, but it's a movie that's done in South Korea or Japan. And, a guy's family is killed. He comes from Italy, and he has onset dementia, and he's working with some guys to get revenge. In fact, I think it's called Revenge. But he's fighting to get the killers killed in revenge for his family before the dementia kicks in, and that's part of the thrill of the film. So I think this is quite the element you put into your book, where it's a race against time. They don't have much time left. And so I guess we have to buy the book and read the book to find out if they ever achieve their goal.
Not going to tell you that, I'm afraid. Buy the book.
I kind of figured. Darn it. So do you see her in 1962? Does the rest of the story play out in modern day times?
Yeah. So we open in 1962, the first time he sees her, but then everything happens in 2022.
Oh, there you go. And so they're constantly, you've got it mentions there's a lot of quirky characters in the book. Tell us why you made some of those choices.
So my background is in TV, as you said. I've spent many years making TV programs, and one of the things that they all have in common, from programs about the royal family to programs about like bed and breakfast owners, is I'm really interested in quirky characters. And like the royal family, they're definitely quirky characters, right? So I'm just always really drawn to sort of slightly eccentric, unusual, slightly different people. And so I like to populate my novel with kind of memorable characters, characters that you like spending time with, that are hopefully at the end of the book, you're like, that was super fun to hang out with them. That's the aim.
There you go. Well, that's good to have. I mean, the characters can make up all of the different facets of a book. And it sounds like, you've got the compressed pressure of the dementia that's there. And so, everyone's going, let's get this done. And I think it's an interesting thing. People love love, I guess, when it comes down to it. It drives people to do funny things, I suppose.
I think that's very true. I think we've all done strange things for love, haven't we? And I think all of us love the idea, or lots of us love the idea of that sort of one big love. And the book kind of explores whether that can come true, if that is, if it is just a fantasy, or if that does exist. So, again, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I think we're all many of us are attracted to that.
Yes. Every morning I wake up, and the first thought of my day is my love, and I awake to them, and I'm just like, I go searching for them in the house and open up the coffee maker, put the coffee in, and true love comes pouring out every morning. Every morning. Just my best companion is a cup of Joe. But I try not to spill the Frappuccino down the front. So tell us more about this cat. What's going on with your cat?
Well, do you know what? I realise I say antisocial in my bio, but actually most cats are antisocial, aren't they?
That's true.
That's sort of like just saying, I've got a cat who's a cat.
Yeah.
She's lovely. She's very cute, but she hates humans. I mean, she just hates all humans.
You know,
Really,
cat's an interesting thing.
Not a people cat.
A cat's an interesting thing. It likes you half the time and hates you the other half of the time. And I always tell people the joke, you know, cats are a lot like women. And I have often said, if I ever settle down and quit being single, I'll get a wife. Or people say, well, Chris, you should get a wife. And I'm like, if I want something that hates me half the time and loves me half the time, I'll get a cat. Or maybe the joke goes the other way. I forget. It's an old joke of mine. But the antisocial cat. Is there any other antisocial things that we need to? I just feel like we need, since we put that in the bio, we have to square that peg.
What about the cat?
Yeah, being antisocial.
Yeah, I mean, she bites, she scratches.
Really?
She's like unbelievably aggressive towards my children who are still young.
Really?
Yeah, no, she's a real character.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is an antisocial cat.
Yeah, she really is.
And
actually, she refuses to be around us except when I've shut my office door. So of course she's meowing outside the door now, pretending that she wants to come in. But if I let her come in, she would like stick her bum in my face and then leave again. Because, you know, that's what cats do, right?
That's that's definitely antisocial.
She's a
character. You should see a shrink, see if they can work that out.
We considered it, like finding a cat shrink. We just keep hoping she'll mellow with age, but so far she's not mellowed.
Yeah. How long have you felt this way about your mother? Well, she abandoned me and my 8 other siblings when we were children. So, but there you go. So this is pretty interesting. On the British royal family BBC thing, does that have any juicy bits on it?
So many, but none that I can tell you because I had to sign very strict non-disclosure agreements. It was very interesting. So I spent, I think 3 or 4 years in total filming with the royal family, and we had like access, you know, really good.
You had access. So this isn't about them.
No, I had an office in Buckingham Palace.
Wow.
So we've travelled the world with the royals. I came to the White House with the Queen when she was visiting George Bush when he was president, the second Bush. So it was really amazing. Like we went from kind of Afghanistan to Washington to Estonia with them, and we traveled all sorts of places, filming kind of the working life of the royals. So yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, you know, I got to meet them all and interview some of them, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I when she got COVID recently, last year, I think, and the whole thing seems like a recent event the last 2 years. But when she got COVID, I was like so worried. I was like, oh man, I hope, you know, you live through everything she lived through, World War II, you know, everything in the craziest life. And what a journey! And I'm like, that would like suck if you get knocked off by the by stupid little virus. But you know, you look at her, and I know people in England have probably a real affection for her, at least a lot of people maybe. But I look at her, and you know, I'm a big Churchill fan, and you look at her life, like everything she's seen, like, you know, when we sent our idiot boy, orange haired Muppet over to you guys, and you know, he was doing stupid stuff that was embarrassing. Like I think he walked in front of her at one point, and she had that look on her face, like, you know, a grandmother who wants to kick your ass, and you just, you know, one of our presidents goes over, and she's like, I've known people back to FDR.
I've met 16 of you guys.
Yeah, I've met 16 of you guys. You guys are just like a rotating thing, and I've been here the whole time. And you just think of what she's seen in her life.
Yeah.
And what
the secrets she must know.
And the secrets and the you know, I have a lot, you know, I've seen a lot of stuff, 54 years, but certainly nothing from her vantage point and her thing. But you just like, her her take on it. Like, does she have an autobiography that she's ever written?
No, and she never will. She never will.
Wow.
Yeah, like maybe I don't know how long that's. There might well be some point in 100 years' time where her diaries get released, like Queen Victoria's diary you can read. So maybe one day, but no, like I mean, and actually, aside from our documentary, which was a while ago, like there's nothing, we couldn't even interview her. Like she wouldn't be interviewed. She is a lady who is not sharing her secrets.
No, she's a lady.
Yeah.
But just one extraordinary vantage point inside
on history, like the thing.
Just everything she's lived through, the extraordinary characters that she's had to put up with.
Yeah.
She probably just sits around and goes, "You're a freaking idiot," compared to Churchill, or I don't even know if she liked Churchill. But it's just her attitudes. Yeah. She must have it. Like I say, I lived 54 years and I have some different attitudes based upon what I've seen. She's what, like in her 90s?
She's what, like 97,
97,
like late 90s now, I think. Might have made that up, but late 90s, yeah.
Like, I'm surprised she tolerates anybody at this point. Yeah. She's like, her autobiography would just be like, the hell with all of you.
The thing that's extraordinary, I mean, so I think, whether you love or hate the royal family and, people have really mixed feelings about them, you have to kind of respect the fact that, like, she is in her late 90s and she's still working. Like, she's still doing all these events, as you say, meeting all these people when she's like, I just want to put my feet up and watch a movie, but she can't. Yeah. She's like, I mean, it's really exhausting. I would not wish that life on anyone.
And then I think she's got to kick Charles in the ass every day for, I don't know, whatever he says or does.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she's got to deal with the whole family that's
disastrous sons.
A little too weird with all the sons and the kids. And, you got this one over here and that one over here. And you're just trying to manage them all and be like, can you not embarrass me? Like, I've been doing this for 90 years. I'm a pro at it. I don't embarrass myself. I'm not out there dancing on stages or, doing stupid stuff, and marrying horses and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so, there's a Charles joke in there somewhere. Anyway, so your book sounds delightful and it sounds like a lot of fun. I've always wondered about those misconnections. So I think tapping into that is something that people really love.
Well, I hope so. I mean, it is. I think it's something, as we've said, that lots of people wonder about. Even however happily in a relationship you are, there's always the one that you still think about, the one that got away. And I just wanted to explore that idea of a 60-year search for that one. Or in Chris's case, the 50 that got away.
The 50 that got away, pretty much, yeah. And they have restraining orders against me, so I can't contact them, even if, I got a bus full of people to help me. So there's that. I do not have any restraining orders, by the way. That is a joke, people. I just want to make that clear. I'm very proud of that fact that, I had years ago, I had a girl that I didn't call back after a second time because I was like, okay, she's clearly not interested in the old voicemail days. And then a year later, she showed up at a party and her friend came to me and said, she really wanted you to chase her. And I go, look, I'm not going to getting her a restraining order. I'm not going to sit there and call her like a stalker. But evidently that was her mix-a-bag. I'm just like, whatever. So anyway, that's a joke, people. You can check court records if you don't believe me. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. We certainly appreciate it. And hopefully you've loved our vault. No. You've loved our jog across the pond to our wonderful folks at London, England. Thank you very much for being on the show, Freya. We certainly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
I'm just searching for jokes now at the end. Be sure to check out the book, what'syour.com, Freya, so people can find you on the interwebs.
It's Freya-Sampson.
There you go. Be sure to check out the book. You can go to anywhere fine books are sold, but stay out of those alleyway bookstores. They're dark, they're damp. You might catch influenza, or you might get step on a nail. I did one yesterday, and now I got to go get a tetanus shot. By the way, the movie that I was referring to earlier in the show, beautiful movie called Vengeance. And it's a South Korean, I believe, film, South Japan, South Korea, one of those two. But it's an amazing film, and the guy has dementia. So I'll leave that in there so people aren't writing me later going, what the hell movie are you referencing? And then you don't tell us. You just leave us on a cliffhanger, Chris, which is how we end the show. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys next time.